What was your motivation almost for writing this film? Because it's a departure. It's kind of a surprise to a lot of your fans of like, oh, wow, where did this movie come from? It's a very specific movie, too, with a very specific narrative. Like, you had a purpose. So I'm wondering, what motivated you kind of to go that route?
It was like, it's about a girl, like a 13-year-old girl last week, 8th grade, and, you know, I did stand-up for like...
Ian found it already, by the way, but
amazing.
We'll go to that later.
It'll be a hard left turn from this conversation.
Yeah.
I performed stand-up for a long time, and I was feeling anxious, and I wanted to sort of talk about the internet and my own anxiety in a way. And so I had felt like my anxiety for a long time was like very specific to me being a 25-year-old comedian with like an audience. And then I would like do my shows, and like young kids would come up to me and say they felt like me, and they felt like they knew what I was going through. Even what I was talking about was like being on stage in front of thousands of people. I'm like, why is this resonating with you? And I just think the sort of pressures, the weird pressures that are usually only afforded to like D-list celebrities have now been democratized and given to everybody. So I was always interested in like, who are telling a story about someone on the internet that nobody's watching? Because the internet tends to, and the culture at large tends to only talk about the people on the internet that are being seen, but the majority of people on the internet.
And there's a lot more and more who are just talking to the camera and nobody's watching.
Yeah, and that's 99% of the videos that are uploaded, 99.9, you know?
Yeah.
And the only thing we talk about is like people that go viral. And as someone that went viral, it's really not that interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the actual interesting thing is just trying to engage with this thing and trying to be seen and trying to be heard. And to me, the people that weren't being heard were actually engaged in a much deeper, more honest thing.
Well, there was one of the central themes, I think, that I extracted from it was like how social media or this abundant of all this going on with YouTube and Twitter and Instagram is affecting kids because I think there's a 5-year difference between us. But when I grew up, there was no... Like, growing up as a kid was hard enough.
Yeah.
But then when you have all this new social media introduced to them, and the way that you portray the girl, how she's glued to these social medias is very accurate, I think. Like, how is this affecting kids?
I don't know.
All the time.
I don't quite know exactly, like, and truly it was me wanting to talk about how it felt to me, and how it felt to me was it made me feel nervous and weird and unsure of myself, and that seems like
You mean social media?
Yeah, just having to sort of represent yourself, having to live your life, and then also live your life on this other place, and then the sense of, like, because of that, floating behind yourself through situations. I just think it's, like, weird and disembodying and, like, a little disassociative or something. But more than anything, it was, like, I'm happy for people to like leave the movie thinking about that stuff, but I don't want the movie to be like a TED Talk or like, you know what I mean, some like finger wagging shit, because that's what so annoys me.
It wasn't, by the way. Let me just say, it
no,
really wasn't.
I'm not saying, but like that, I don't know. It just feels like the internet hasn't even, at least in popular media, hasn't even been described, let alone figured out. Like I just wanted to portray it how it feels to her and me a little bit, which is just weird. It's just like, it's a lot. But if it's not like it's just shitty. It's not like it's like we should just, if we threw our phones in the ocean and we'd be happy. It's like, it's both. We're super connected. We're super lonely. We're super stimulated. We're super numb. We're self-expressing and objectifying. It's like, I wouldn't be here without the internet. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm so grateful for it. But also it's, you know, there may be a happy medium between like, the 60 minutes talking about like narcissistic kids and like, come on creators, or whatever the fuck the YouTube conversation is, where it can't self-examine at all.
I feel like, well, on my part, I'm a grown man, more or less, and I've recently pretty much quit using social media because it's honestly too much for me. Like even me for a long day, I had like a quota for myself where I was like, I need to post every day on Twitter once.
Yeah.
Because in a way, it's like, if I don't tweet, do I exist still? Like, am I still in the minds of these people? And I found, by the way, that the answer is very much, yes, you still do exist if you don't tweet. But, like, there was just a really unhealthy interaction I had with it, like checking it first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I had that too. I started sitting down to pee. To be on my phone, I was like, this is fucked up. This is totally fucked up.
Because you don't really get a lot of time out of that. You sit down to pee, I mean, what does that buy you? Like 30 seconds?
30, 40 minutes at most.
Right. That's a condition, really.
Yeah, we'll get into that.